Okay guys, so times appear to be a-changing here at the Real Test channel. I went almost a year and a half of uploading videos without doing one single review on a Kastking's reel. And then here I am now doing my second review in less than a month of a Kastking's reel. So, well, looky there. That's the power of somebody sending me free reels. Okay, so of course we've already done the review of the new darling of Kastking's, the Royal Legend Elite, and now it's time for its older, uglier brother, the Kastking's Assassin. Now, I say it's ugly, it's really not. This is probably their best looking reel other than the Royal Legend Elite. The proportions are not that bad, but let me let you guys take a good look at this. And when I received this reel, the price on Kastking's Amazon site was 40 bucks. So I was like, wow, what a deal, especially when I looked at the specifications. And then at the time of this recording, I looked at the Amazon website and the price jumped up to 60 bucks. So I'm not sure what's going on there, if $60 is the regular price and maybe they just had a promotion. But even being $60, looking at the specifications on this reel, this thing on paper is a much better reel than the more expensive Royal Legend Elite. And I'm going to show you guys exactly why. Now, to show you guys why the Assassin is a better reel than the Royal Legend Elite on paper, I brought out the scale. Now we're going to take some measurements, but first I'm going to go over a little comparison of the two. Now both of them have the same amount of bearings, which I believe is 11 plus 1. Now both of them have a non-metal frame. The frame of the Assassin is carbon, while the frame of the Royal Legend Elite is graphite. Now, of course, graphite is a form of carbon. But since this is quote-unquote carbon, this is a lot lighter, and I'm going to show you guys here in a second. But the handle of the Assassin looks to be longer. It's probably 95 or 100 millimeters. It's actually carbon fiber, which is desirable to some people. A lot of people upgrade their reels to carbon fiber handles to, you know, reduce weight and improve aesthetics, while of course the Royal Legend Elite has this ugly swept or curved style handle, which I don't like. Okay, so the second thing that made this thing a better reel is the braking system. Now they gave the Assassin the dual braking system of centrifugal on the inside and then magnetic with the external dial on the outside. So inside you have that standard Banax style centrifugal system that has 7 settings, and then you have the standard magnetic system with 25 settings on the external dial. So this thing has a total of 175 different settings as far as braking. So it gives you much more ability to fine-tune your brakes. While the Royal Legend Elite, for some reason, they opted with just a straight magnetic system with only 11 settings total. So maybe that's all you need, maybe not. Okay, so let's pull this scale out. Let me show you guys a couple of things as to why the Assassin is a superior reel, at least on paper. Okay, so we've weighed the Royal Legend Elite before, and this thing weighs in at 7.2 ounces, which is not heavy by any means. But the Assassin, you're looking at 5.7 ounces, so it weighs literally 1.5 ounces less than the Royal Legend Elite, and you can definitely feel the difference between the two. This feels heavier but on the upside it feels more solid as well because it is smaller. You guys can see the size difference between the two. Okay, so now we get to one of the main things why this is a better reel on paper, and that was the spool. If you can take a look at this spool, if it looks familiar to you, yeah, it's the Kastking's version of the spool that came in the PISCIFUN Phantom. It's just got a blue tint or accent to it. And let's pull out the Royal Legend Elite spool. Okay, now the first thing you'll see is that the size difference is huge. This is a 36mm spool. This is a 34mm spool. And yeah, let's take a look at the porting is extensive. Of course, it's got the long shaft. There's the bearing, just like the Royal Legend Elite. But let's weigh these things. And let's see here. Now the Royal Legend Elite spool weighs in at 16.5 grams, and I've weighed the spool without the bearing. The bearing weighs 1.5 grams, so this is a 15-gram spool. And the Assassin with the bearing weighs 13.5 grams. So without this bearing, the rotational mass of this spool is only 12 grams. To put that into context, that's less than the METANIUM MGL, it's less than the CHRONARCH MGL, that's less than the TATULA SV. So yeah, if you remember the PISCIFUN Phantom, which has a very similar spool and brakes, outcasted a DAIWA SV reel out in the field, and it's a very good caster. So yeah, that's kind of puzzling as to why Kastking's would take their latest and greatest reel and kind of handicap it with a heavy spool and less adjustable brakes. I do know why they made the spool smaller, because when you look at the profile of these two reels, it's pretty obvious that the Royal Legend Elite is a lower profile reel than the Assassin by a few millimeters when you line it up. But I mounted the Assassin on a rod, and this is not an uncomfortable reel. It's actually very comfortable to palm. Your thumb naturally sits right on this top piece. It's the shape of the palm side plate feels very good. There's no sharp edges on this reel that digs into my fingers like the Assassin. I mentioned, the Royal Legend Elite. I mentioned that the bulge here has sharp edges, and this section here has a sharp edge. So yeah, on paper, the Assassin, which is cheaper, much lighter, has a much lighter spool, a better braking system. It has a metal star drag, while the Royal Legend Elite has a graphite star drag. It's a much better reel, at least on paper. Out on the field or in the water, I'm not sure. The Royal Legend Elite does feel more solid in hand. Maybe that'll translate to better durability, who knows. But there's only one way to find out, is to take them both out on the field and on the water and see if we see a difference in casting between the two. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put all this stuff aside. I'm going to go over some notes and things I've noticed about the Kastking's Assassin. Thumb bar feel is good. It's not mushy. And yeah, the knobs are EVA, and I thought they felt really weird, but then I realized that they have the Kastking's logo etched into them. I don't know if this is gonna pick up the Kastking's logo etched into these knobs, but it's a fairly generic generically good looking reel. You can see the accents on the porting of the star drag. The spool tension does not click, but it is made of metal, and it's got a metal insert underneath, just like on the Royal Legend Elite, that makes this very, very smooth and refined to turn. So the line guide looks to be a pretty standard line guide to me. But yeah, when this thing, I saw this for 40 bucks, I was like, wow, that is a bargain. But now that it's 60, it's still a bargain, because to get these kind of specs from a more mainstream manufacturer like Shimano, DAIWA, GARCIA, you're looking at a cost of a minimum of 300 bucks. Like the STEEZ, I think that's the only DAIWA reel currently under 6 ounces, and that's 500 bucks. The ALDEBARANs are like $420. The METANIUM is right at 6 ounces, and that's 420 bucks. So yeah, Kastking is giving you a lot of reel for the money, at least on paper. Now, how will this thing cast? I don't know. So we're gonna take it out on the field and have it battle up against its better looking brother, the Royal Legend Elite. Okay guys, thanks a lot.